going to walk you through and logging in and creating an instance. You have your own login. I'm using a generic login I've created. I have a password that I've saved. When you first log in, it probably will ask you to update your password from the one that was initially given to you. Once you're signed in, it will want you to use your multi-factor authentication. If you don't have it, I am using Google Authenticator. You get to choose which one to use, and I put in my code that my authenticator gives me. And now if things are all working for you, you should see this same thing. Basically, it connects you to an account that I have created there on Amazon Web Services. I'm not going to mess with shortcuts. You can play with that if you like. Go log in, and I'm going to go to my console for that. So let's see if I can get to my console. There we go. Power user access takes me to the console where I have power user power. And I'm going to go from the start. I'm going to go to EC2, and I'm going to launch an instance. It will show you instances up here. I had one that I tested and got it working. You can start from this page or start from the main page. I'm just going to go right up here to the launch instance. And I'm going to put my name in there, Manning Instance Demo. In your instances, you're allowed to choose multiples. Now these do cost money, so you don't want to just leave them running when you're not using them. You don't have to terminate them. If they're terminated, they're done. If they're just stopped, you're not spending as much money. You do pay a tiny bit. We do pay a tiny bit in storage. So I'm going to choose the Windows Server 22 base. It's free tier eligible. If you have your own account, you get free for a year testing anything that's free tier eligible. And I'm going to go with the basic settings here. I'm going to use I'm going to create a key pair. You're going to want to do this because you won't be able to connect to it without a key pair. So I'm going to create a new key pair. I'm going to call it Manning2 key pair. And because I'm going to be using remote desktop, I'm going to create the private key format, PEM for SSH and RDP. If I'm going to use PuTTY, like for a Linux system where I want to use a shell, I'm use PPK. You can generate a PPK using PuTTY-gen if you need. So PEM is the easiest. I'm going to create that key pair, and you better save this in a place where you know, otherwise you'll never be able to get it again. So save your key pair, upload it to your cloud drive so you can get it from anywhere else. And in the security groups, since I already have a security group created for you, you don't have to mess with that. You can go with the default security group. You're welcome to create one, and then it's up to you to figure out how to enable RDP on that. So I'm going to go with the default already set up, using everything else default, and I'm going to launch my instance. When I want to connect to it, I'm going to need to know its IP address. And you can go through the details here about how to connect. I've found that if I download the RDP client, it doesn't really work. I'll try it again this time. I'm going to download that, and I think it saves the password into a file. So I'm going to go using a client and I'm going to download that file, see if that works this time. I wasn't able to get it to work. Manning Instance Demo, it creates an RDP file with I believe the IP address stored. And if you're doing Linux, you'll want to know how to use a serial console. So if you want to get the password, if this doesn't work, which it didn't for me, you can go here to Get Password. And what you need, I need to get my password. I need to decrypt it. I guess it makes me want to wait. I didn't recall having to wait that long last time. But we'll wait a little bit and we'll come back to this. Let's go now, click on our instance, and we'll see what's going on. And remember, I can just go to instances. If I want to see what's going on with it, there's my previous one showing up now. I can click on my instance ID name, and it takes me to my instance. This is the important information. If I want to RDP, that is the address that I need to connect to. And open address, I don't even know what that does. I haven't tried that. I think it'll try to visit it with my browser, which is worthless. It's not serving a web page. But this is the address I'm going to want to remote desktop to, if I ever need that. Okay. Let's see here how long it takes to get me connected. So hang around here, you can see what it's doing. You can go back to instances. You'll see its state up here. It says it's running. Oh, there it is. It says it's initializing, so I may not be able to get its password yet. Just for fun, let's go back there and click connect and go to RDP client. Let's see if it will let me do a get password. Oh, now it's going to let me do get password. Here is where I need that key pair that I just created. There's the key pair. I upload that file. It sees that, and from that decrypts a password, and there it is. That's the password that I can use then to log into that, and I can click here to copy it to my clipboard. Now I believe it's ready to go. I'm going to go, first of all, I'm going to go try that remote desktop file. I don't think it's going to work, but let's find out. I'm going to go browse over to that folder where I save that RDP file, and there it is, manning instance demo. Double click, and let's see if it's taking me. Oh, it looks like it might be taking me there. Okay, notice it doesn't have the password saved in that RDP file. It appears to be taking me to the correct address. Notice it's using the URL. I could use the URL or the raw address, and since I had copied that password I had decrypted, pasting it there. And if I haven't remembered me, that's just fine. I don't know why it's using this as my login. Let's see what happens. It seems to be happy. And there I have a desktop into my cloud instance. It's a Windows 2022 server, but it looks a lot like Windows 11. And as you use Windows here, might as well get some familiarity with Windows Server, because if you're serious about doing anything with computers, you better know how to navigate the server. And nicely, they make it look a lot like Windows 11. Not always the same. It's much more fussy when you try to browse websites. It's horrendous. The first thing I do is download Chrome if I actually want to try to use it to actually browse the internet. Otherwise, it tries to revalidate every single website you ever go to. So here we have your desktop, and you are now administrative. Let's just take a quick little explore of this. Let's go to my File Explorer. File Explorer. There we go. Oh. And I'll just view the system here and see what we have on our system. Yeah, it's connecting to the cloud network. We're basically running a system in the cloud. It's running on a web server. We can look at our memory that we have. 1 gig of memory, low speed address. We have actually in the cloud virtual private network, you have a private address, the external address exposed to you that we can get through over the internet. And let's just verify how much space we're using on our folders here. 13 gig free. You have a 30 gig drive. So you can learn all about your virtual system. You can adjust your settings. I always do this, advanced system settings. Advanced system settings. First thing I ever do on a system, if I want to decently perform, I go to performance and adjust for best performance. Especially when you're running with limited capabilities, turn off all the eye candy. So when you move windows, you don't drag windows. If you're doing anything at all on a server, that's the first thing I always do. Sadly, you can't adjust your bar. I like to put the bar on the left side, so the start menu is always upper left corner, because I'm often not viewing it full screen and I have to constantly drag my mouse around. So there you go. You have an instance. You're running it. You mess with it. You can adjust things, save files, and they will be there the next time you start it up. But I'm going to terminate it, and I'm going to terminate it the nice way. I'm going to go to Power, Shut Down here, and here's a little difference here with Windows Server. It wants a reason when you're powering down. It doesn't just let you power down. And I continue, and it shuts down on its own, doing a soft shutdown, and it'll close that window, and I can disconnect that RDP. And back here in my instance, if I go back to my instances now, I will see that it is, the status now, it should be, eventually it should be shut down. And let me just do a refresh here, see how long that takes to show. There we go, stopping. And if I want to terminate it and save money, it's not running. I'm saving money now by not running it. I'm saving even more money when I'm done with it. To delete the image off the disk, I go to select it and do actions, and instance state, I do terminate instance when I'm done with it. And it gives you a warning that at this point you're going to lose any information you had saved on your storage. There you go, a quick little run through, creating an instance, starting it, connecting to it, and shutting it down. Hope that helps.